All right. Well, good evening. My name is Sean Chrysler, and I serve as the Assistant Vice President for Residence Life and Housing. And I just want to welcome you to the Move-In webinar for Fall 21. I just wanted to take a moment to allow other families and students and parents to join us this evening as we begin. As we go through the webinar this evening, I will do my best to stop at certain points, answer questions, and I'll also be mindful of the chat. And if I see certain questions that could be held to other parts of the webinar, I'll make sure that I'll address those pieces. And so again, I just want to welcome you. I've already shared my screen with you just so you can see some of the pieces that I will be covering. And again, I will walk you through an agenda to just highlight some of the points that I have for you. So with that, let's go ahead and begin. In terms of agenda items this evening, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about move-in dates and times, move-in sign-up, directions. Then we're going to talk about testing upon arrival, the SUNY Upstate Medical Portal, the unloading process, and then I will move over to parents, family, and guests, talk a little bit about after the move-in process, and then I'll address some miscellaneous questions, and then I'll begin to close it out. So at this point, I'm just going to take a look as I've shared my screen at the questions, just to make sure that I have everything that began. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, again, if for some reason you can't share my screen or the audio goes out, please put that in the chat box and I'll make sure that I'll adjust. All right, so move-in dates and times. So these are the move-in dates and times, which are also posted on our Residence Life and Housing website. The move-in dates and times are August 15th through the 16th, 9 a.m. to noon, 1 to 3. This is for first-year international students. August 19th, 9 a.m. to noon, and 1 to 3 is for new transfer international students. August 20th through the 22nd, 9 to noon, and 1 to 3 is also for returning students. The question that I get most often about move-in dates and times is first that the move-in dates and times, these time slots, the 9 to noon and the 1 to 3, is those were the times that students were given to select a day and time for their arrival. It does not count as the time it requires for you to move into the residence halls. It is only your time of arrival. So if you will, it's almost like a virtual ticket. It just gives us some sense of when you will arrive and allows us to monitor campus density. So that's just something to consider. You will also notice that we don't have move-in on the 17th and the 18th, that the move-in dates are just the 15th and 16th for first-year students and international students, the 19th for new transfer and international students, and the 20th through the 22nd. Now, if you decide to arrive after this date, that's okay as well. You have up until Thursday to check in, where you can check into your residence halls. And so late arrivals, if you're not able again to move into your residence hall or your village townhouse apartment until after Sunday, August 22nd, you don't need to register for a move-in slot. You can check in at your front desk all the way until Thursday, August 26th of this year, okay? Any international students, we've asked them to contact International Student and Scholar Services, where we can help with travel arrangements, okay? If you have missed the move-in time slot, please reach out to us so we can assist you in that. And so if you're a student, missed that window and you've already emailed us, we will be in contact. This is the contact information for our office. We're in 303 Culkin Hall. residencelife@oswego.edu is the best way to contact us. As you can imagine, we're pretty busy serving students and working with families. And so you can call us at 315-312-2246, but we would prefer that you email us at reslife, RESLIFE, at Oswego, OSWEGO.edu. Okay. So for the move-in dates and times, for some of you may have gotten an additional email extending that time for move out for your student. And if they receive that, we would have asked them to go to myhousing.oswego.edu, log in with their LakerNet ID and password, and then scroll down to select a day and time. For those who may not have seen this portal, this is what the portal would look like. And on the right, you'll see my information, the same information the student will see upon sign up. And so if you missed that sign up window and we reached out to you, this is the portal on our home page that would allow you to move in and sign up for that time. Okay, let's spend some time talking a little bit about directions. So here's the part that I want you to remember. Regardless of which residence hall you will live in, regardless of which townhouse you live in, all students will go to the Sweatman Gymnasium in the back of the Marano Campus Center first before they will be allowed to enter their residence halls and place their items in their room. All students, new students, returning students, international students, transfer students will go to Sweatman Gym first before they're allowed to enter their residence hall and place the items into their room. With that being said, there are 3 points of entry to campus. The first one is here at Route 89. The second one is here, this red dot at the main entrance right there on Sweet Road. The third one is here, right here on Sheldon Avenue and Washington Boulevard. Regardless of which way you come to campus, all of you will be directed to this yellow dot, if you will, to get you to Sweatman Gym. So Sweatman Gym is right off Centennial Road. And so that is where we would get you. That's the first stop you'll make. For those of you who like to have a GPS map on your phone, you can use the address SUNY Oswego 7060 State Route 104, Oswego, New York 13126 3599. And I'll leave that up just for a minute. Okay, let's talk a little bit about testing upon arrival. So in terms of testing upon arrival, the college will test all students, both vaccinated and unvaccinated, upon their arrival to campus during scheduled move-in times in the testing center, which will be located again in Sweatman Gymnasium, the lower level of the Marano Campus Center. All residential students must be tested before moving into their residence halls. Students who are not fully vaccinated will be required to test weekly throughout the semester. And that message was part of the message that our president sent to all students as it related to Fall 21 guidance for SUNY Oswego. Another message from the president addressed the fact that effective immediately, mask and face mask coverings are required for all students and employees, both vaccinated and unvaccinated, in all indoor spaces, settings, and events, including the classroom, except when eating or drinking. And so one of the questions that I received from a parent and from a student was, Sean, does this mean that we have to wear our mask in the residence halls? And I said it does. You do have to wear your mask in the residence halls as you're moving about the residence hall. So when you enter the residence halls or the village townhomes, you would be wearing your mask. As you're going to the bathroom, you would be wearing your mask. As you're going to the lounge, you would be wearing your mask. In your room, of course, you can take off your mask in your private space, but you would be wearing your mask in the residence hall. Now, going back to the question about parking. So when students come and they test, there will be parking. So right when you come to the gym, we will have a place for you to park, and parents and guests will wait outside. I'll talk a little bit more about the testing procedure and some of the frequently asked questions, but just thinking about that, there will be parking near the gym. You do not need to park near your residence hall and walk to the gym. So you can park next to the gym comfortably, test, and then exit. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the testing station. So The test is a saliva test, so students will come into Sweatman Gym. They will have their ID, and they will be given a kit where they can they administer their own test by taking a swab and rubbing it in their mouth. They put that swab into a vial. They will then shake it up. They will put that vial back into a kit, and they will label that vial where that vial can be later tested. The question I often get is how soon will testing results be available? While that can change depending on the number of tests that we do, I can say that those test results come back pretty fast, just so we can get a beat on how students are doing. But that's also a question that you can ask when you get to the facility. We will not test your parents or your guests. And in terms of who will manage the testing, we have partners, campus partners that we work with, as well as medical professionals and some of our own staff to manage the testing location. You will receive the results either by phone or by text, but also you'll receive more information when you arrive. And again, where you can park, you will park right behind Sweatman Gym. Once we get you there, we'll show you where to park. All right. Okay. So when you think about your ID, you will need your SUNY Oswego ID to get tested. Or if you don't have your ID, let's say you're a new student, or maybe you lost your ID, you will just need your ID number. So if you don't have your SUNY ID, you will need your ID number, and then they can type it in, and then you can proceed with the testing. After you take the test, you'll be able to leave. I'll talk a little bit about the wristband piece that we will be using. But after you take the test, you're going to be good to go. But before you actually get there, so two things. For new students, when you got the message from the president, there was a link that suggested that before you even arrive, that you go to the SUNY Upstate, and that shouldn't be update, but Upstate, SUNY Upstate Medical Portal, and you'll be able to click that link. So in the president's message, the first one that I referenced, there's a link in there to the SUNY Upstate Medical Portal that you would want to start. So for new students, you want to have that complete before you got here. For returning students, it's the same link that you used before. You just want to make sure that it worked. Do you need to make a testing appointment? You do not. So you do not need to make a testing appointment. So for returning students, last semester, you did have to make a testing appointment. Your move-in time already serves as the mechanism to have you tested. In terms of what you should bring to the testing center, if you can, I would bring your phone, your student ID, and your insurance card. Again, new students and returning students, you have to have your student ID or at least your student ID number. In terms of process, so you'll go in to test, you'll go through the testing station. At the end of that testing piece, you'll receive an orange wristband that you will wear until Monday, August 23rd. At that time, you can remove it. I'll talk a little bit more about that on the back end, but that orange wristband is really one of compliance. It just indicates that you've simply taken the test as part of the move-in process. It does not denote status of any kind, with the exception of that you've complied. Then you'll go from testing, orange wristband, to your residence hall, to the unloading process. I will talk a little bit more about the last three pieces once I talk a little bit more about the SUNY Upstate portal. So this is just an example of the SUNY Upstate Medical Portal. When you click that link, this is what you will see. Notice you will be able to register up top. Here, this is just an example of what I see when I log into the portal, register for a new test, and it has my information here. Here's some things to consider prior to testing. Again, before you test, you must first register your profile with SUNY Upstate Medical Portal before going into the testing center. You'll need your phone, your student ID. You should have your health insurance card, or at least your student ID number. Remember, you'll be wearing a mask when you come into the facility. And prior to Taking this sample collection, students will need to ensure 3 things. The first is that within the past 3 hours, they have not brushed their teeth or used mouthwash. And I know what some of you are thinking, it's a pretty long car ride. So, but that's going to be important. The second thing is within the past 30 minutes, they've not eaten or they haven't drank anything, including mints, gum, or lozenges. The third is that to ensure in the past 30 minutes that they have not smoked or used any tobacco or smokeless tobacco products. So you want to keep that in mind before you test. Also, these questions on the left are some of the questions that will be asked when you make it to the testing center, just about your overall health. I want to talk to you a little bit about the wristbands. So the wristbands, for those of you who are returning, you remember this process from last semester. The wristbands, again, were given to you right after you came into the testing center and started the testing process. All students will be given these wristbands. We're asking that you keep these wristbands on until Monday, August 23rd. The wristbands are waterproof, so you don't have to worry about if you can wear them in the shower, you can. Again, they don't represent status. They just demonstrate that you've complied with the testing process and allows us to move that process along. Let's talk a little bit about the unloading process. So in terms of unloading, I want to make 2 distinctions. So first year new students on the 15th and the 16th who arrive will have some additional assistance in the move-in process. So these students typically will be assisted by a Laker move-in crew. And they will assist with the move-in process. So for returning students that come after the 16th, you will still have assistance, but that will be in the form of carts that we issue you to move your items into the residence halls. So in terms of unloading, you'll get to park in front or near your residence hall when you're unloading. Your family can unload your car in one of our great bins. There aren't a specific number of family members, guests, or friends that you can that can help you move. So there's not a limit on that. They are also welcome into the building. So family, friends, guests that come with you are welcome to come into the building, look around, help you move in and get settled. Move-in crew are only designated to help you with your items out of the car. So they'll hold that bin, you'll load that bin, and they will push that to your room. They don't help you unpack or get settled into your room. And so when you get to your room, you'll take your things out, they'll take that move-in bin back and assist the next student. If you need to make a second trip, that's totally fine. You can fill that bin back up and head back to your room. When your car is empty, we'll simply ask you, your family, or friends to park in a designated lot. Other questions that we sometimes get about the process. And so the first one is, how will socially distancing be maintained during this process? So of course, we talked a little bit about the sign up process. So that's how we manage campus density. We want to know how many students are on campus, where they are on campus. And so in the residence halls, we'll also be monitoring the cleaning of the bins and elevator usage as well. You can bring your own car to dolly, and family members again can assist you. As you enter the residence halls, we will ask that you wear a mask while you're doing that process. I talked about this earlier, how many people can help move in. There's not a limit. There's also not a limit to the amount of time family and guests can stay in the residence halls. And so that's open as well. That is totally up to you. Okay. And again, there will be access to elevators. All right, parents, family, and guests. I'm going to hit some of these points again, just in case someone logged in just now, just like I talked about. How many family members will be allowed to accompany student? There's not a cap on that. You can visit students at this point in time. You can still visit students throughout the semester. There aren't any restrictions on that right now. In terms of family members who might need additional assistance or family members who might be disabled, you can bring family members up to the hall and drop them off. You also can assist them via the elevator to your room to get settled during the move-in process. Again, family members can come visit you. And number 5, can students visit other students in residence halls? They can, but those students should always be accompanied by the student of that residence hall. After move-in, so after move-in, some of the frequently asked questions that we receive is, first, there's no curfew. Students will typically have a floor meeting or activities they'll be asked to come back to. So there are organized events that students will hear more about as they begin to move forward. And students will be able to leave with their parents after move-in, go bank, shop, eat, whatever they need to do. That will be okay. In terms of where families or parents can wait after they move into the building, there will be designated parking where you can park right after move-in. You'll also, again, be able to spend time with your student after they move in. You don't have to leave right away, and you can come in and out of that residence hall as the weekend progresses. That's okay. You can see students before you leave the next day, maybe take them to breakfast, or you can walk around campus as well as the residence halls. So now we're going to open it up to miscellaneous questions that I've been asked in previous webinars, and I thought this would be helpful. All right, so first question, Bed Lofton will not be available this year. So right now it is not available. We do make room and building changes. That information comes out on the 23rd, which is Monday, the first day of classes. And students will receive emails from their residence director, which is the master level professionals that we have that live in the building, if they so decide to do so. In terms of the remote check-in process, students in the village will still go to Sweatman and test and then go straight to the village. The question I sometimes get is, how much is it to rent a mini fridge? And that is $55 per semester or $100 per academic year. And it is a 3.1 cubic feet or foot refrigerator. Okay. If you bring one, it can be no more than 20 amps and it can exceed 6 cubic feet. Typically, I remind parents and students that if you want to rent a mini fridge, that form can be found in the form section of our webpage. In terms of needing a printer, you can bring a printer, but there is printing available on campus. Of course, you have to, there's a quota attached to it because students pay for that, but you can bring a printer. You can use kitchens, and you would be able to rent for free utensils and other cooking equipment to assist you. The fitness center will be open, and you will be able to receive packages on, or I should say a little later on move-in day, once all the mail has been cleared. The fridge is just a mini fridge, but it doesn't come with a microwave. There are microwaves in the kitchen areas of the building, but the mini fridge that you went is not a micro fridge. It's just a mini fridge, so it's only a refrigerator. The reason we don't allow microwaves in rooms is because when students sometimes burn food, it sets off the smoke alarm, and we'd have to dump the building. So we keep microwaves in a specific area. Along with the miscellaneous questions, I want to jump, and I'll talk about mattress toppers in just a minute. Will dining be open when you move in? Yes, dining will be open and available when you move in. Number 10, there will most likely be a floor meeting when you move in, but your RAs will, your student staff members, your RSS will share more about that information. Beds are set to a default height. However, you are able to move those beds up based on the lock and hook mechanism on those beds. So those beds are suspended on a lock and hook mechanism, which allows you to raise that bed up higher if need be. In terms of refrigerators and TVs, you can have up to two refrigerators, or mini fridges, as I should say, because we don't allow standard refrigerators in the room, but mini fridges and 2 TVs if you so choose. Again, residents will have access to the kitchen and other parts of the residence hall. In terms of the question about the mattress toppers, so we spend a lot of time talking to parents and students about this, and we will allow mattress toppers this year and mattress pads. We just want you to investigate the safety labels of those mattress toppers and pads to the best of your ability, but we will allow that. Okay. All right, I'm going to move on to the last few slides. If there are any more questions about mattress toppers or anything else I need to clarify, please post that in the Q&A and I will. But at this point, you can purchase the best mattress topper or pad that you see fit, and we encourage you to do so. Okay, so I got a question about if we were to order Amazon or similar, how will we receive that? So all packages that come for students all go to our front desk. And after we process packages, we allow students, or we inform students that, hey, mail is done. And at that point, they will receive a package. And so all of that comes to our front desk. Okay. I'm just going to move us forward a little bit and start to close out. So again, this is our address, 303 Culkin Hall, Oswego, New York, 13126. Residence life at oswego.edu, and 315-312-2246 is our contact information. Some of the things that I didn't talk about on this webinar, but I just wanted to point out, the Live Where You Learn guide, I think, is a great guide. It not only shows room layouts, building tours, what to bring to campus, and prohibited items. I think it's just a great guide overall to highlight a number of things. I got a question about where can we find our mailing address. So if you go to residential communities on the website, right, if you click the halls, your mailing address can actually be found on that page. We also put it in the Live Where You Learn guide. That's a great question. Amazon delivery, if there's Amazon delivery, it goes to the front desk of that residence hall. So that's what that is delivered. Okay. That is the last of the questions. I am going to hang out just for a little bit in case there are additional questions, and I'm going to address them. So feel free to stay. I see we have another question. The question is, if we arrive early for our move-in time, will we be able to move in early, or will we have to wait until our scheduled time? So I would say don't arrive too early, because again, we're trying to manage the density. But if, say if your time was 1 o'clock and you arrived at 12:30 because you just got a good flow on traffic, we would still test you and allow you to move in. If you arrive after your move-in time, or something happens and you're coming after 3 o'clock, we would work with you to get you tested. But again, we would want you to arrive as close to your time as possible. Okay. Any more questions? I'm going to take a look. All right. If your student didn't receive an extension to move in and they missed a deadline and you emailed us, we'll work to grant the extensions as best we can. And so we will be in contact. And I'm sorry if I missed that. Other questions? Okay, again, I'm going to hang around in case there are additional questions. One question, is it possible to change your move-in time from 10 a.m. To 11 a.m.? What I would say is, if you send that message directly to me right now, it just reads anonymous. If you send that directly to me, I can probably take a look and see if an adjustment can be made. Another question is, do students need to stay all week or all weekend after move-in? They do not. So students are free to leave as they need, and that's okay. Great questions. Okay, I'm just going to look at this question. Okay. Okay, so sure. So I talked a little bit about raising the bed and the drawers under the bed. So in the Live Where You Learn guide, there's a layout of every room, and we show you, we kind of highlight where those drawers are. Just so you can see that. And so that Live Where You Learn guide will show the room layout as well as where the drawers are in that room. Okay. I'm just reading the question. Okay. So for you, for those who are asking me about the issue you're having with the move-in time, just hang on towards the end and I can work to help you. Okay. Other questions before we begin to close out? Okay. I'm going to hang on again, but other than that, I want you to have a good evening and we look forward to seeing you soon.